Promotional consideration paid for by the following. The Ohio Neck and Back Pain Relief Center, Scott M. Gray, D.C., across from the Marion Center between TSC and Kroger. For further information, dial 740-386-6580. Also located on the net at goodbackbadback.com. Dreiss Roofing and Contracting, LLC, located at 370 East Church Street, right here in Marion. For more information, call 740-751-9516. Specializing in roofing, siding, decks, garages, windows, pole buildings, and complete homes. For more information, again, call Dan Rice, 740-751-9516.
Scott Spears along with you on this Tuesday edition of The Exchange. Just have a nice little conversation here in the break. Hope you're having a great Tuesday. Yesterday's quiz question, what first pet began life in the home of Chelsea Clinton's piano teacher? I did know this, Marianne, and so did the doctor. It was Socks the cat. Remember? Because there was a lot of mirth made after Millie the dog, the Bush's dog, was gone. That the Clinton
Okay, so it was the
Socks. Absolutely. And now, on this Tuesday, before we talk to our very special guest, Trella Romine, about her life in Marion and all kinds of other great things, we're going to go to Charlie Evers for Fascinating Facts.
All right, Trella will relate to this. The Hancock County Park District recently had a tour down to Killdeer Plains, and the goal was to see the migrating birds. A lot of shorebirds and other birds are on their migration pattern right now. But now in Marion County, we've got our own Big Island Wildlife Area, and if you take a trip out there, you can see some migrating birds too. And that's right close at hand.
Perfect. Now we're going to head over to Marianne Michaels for, I hate to say this, why do I like saying this, but Feng Shui I thought was going to end today. No, Charlie. It's going to go on for another week after this week, and then we're going to get into a whole new thing called potpourri, which is going to be a lot of fun as we break into fall. But we've got words of wisdom, and then Marianne will go into Feng Shui for today.
Well, this week is words of pleasure. In other words, simple pleasures, the words of wisdom. And this comes from a Roman dramatist, and his name was Titus Platus. And this is what he says. Water, sun, moon, the day, night. I don't have to pay a thing to enjoy them. You know, and that's so true. We don't take time to look around us, to see nature, and to appreciate it. And I love that.
Love that. While Marianne gets ready for Feng Shui, I didn't introduce our other panelist, Martha Douse-Manesi. Look at that shirt on Martha Douse. Martha, all your grandkids on that shirt?
Yep.
How many of them are there?
I got 23 and 8 great-grandchildren.
Beautiful.
And one more on the way.
The Manesi family is a big family. Now get a shot at, Martha's got a new crown on this week.
This is compliments of Patty Worcester. She had a big, big beauty pageant, and I delivered some pictures that Dick gave her. It took yesterday, Sunday. I took them to her house, and she said, Martha Manesi, I have something for you to match your glasses. She said, wait just a minute, sit down. She came up, and this is the glasses, Marianne.
It's beautiful.
Matches my glasses.
Absolutely beautiful.
Well, in the shape of a star, and you are a star, so it fits perfectly, Martha. Marianne Feng Shui for today.
All right, feng shui. Today it's going to be about health and beauty. And you know that feng shui, I hope you know by now, it's the ancient Chinese art of living. And put a vase or a bowl of fresh flowers in the room of a sick person, because it will create positive energy and speed recovery. To improve your sleep, place a glass of water by the bed, level with your head. Do not drink the water, and the next day, throw it away. The water will absorb any of the negative energy and all the time that you're sleeping. And we want to get rid of the negative energy and encourage positive energy. That's what feng shui is all about. Try to include music in your daily life. Find the vibrations that relate best to your inner soul. And these musical sounds will bring joy, and they will banish gloom and depression. Treat yourself to some new underwear. Only real cotton or silk, because synthetic fibers, especially nylon, will create static, and then that will hold the negative energy. And the last thing today is make sure that your clothes are free from rips, tears, or missing buttons, because being badly groomed is liable to bring you bad luck. Now, next week will be the last week, and it will be about love. I'm going to talk about love next week, the feng shui.
I always knew people with nylon undergarments were unhappy, Marianne.
Oh, you did?
Oh, I've always felt that if you're wearing nylon undergarments, not going to be pleasant. Marianne, is that why people send flowers to the hospital?
Yes. Right. Well, according to the Chinese, that's what you do. And, you know, people love to have flowers in their rooms. Yes.
I think it's very interesting. Joined today by somebody I've wanted to have on the show for quite a while, and we've never been able to come together. And I'm so glad we're finally coming together. I've interviewed her on radio several times, and it's always a delightful time. Marion's First Lady of History, a pioneer in business for women, certainly, with Hemmerle's Flowers, Trella Romine. Trella, thank you so much for coming in today.
It's my pleasure.
Anytime I'm with you, I am happy. And the reason is because you really span this town. When was the first time you laid your feet or eyes on the ground in Marion?
Well, talking when I first walked, it was probably in the spring of 1916.
1916.
Right.
My goodness, Trella. Now, you were born in 1916.
No, I was born on November 3rd, 1950.
And do the math on how old Trella will be this November, but you don't look it at all, Trella. Don't look it at all. And you still drive.
Oh, yes.
That's amazing.
I get 45 miles to the gallon in my red Prius.
Now,
And I'm not polluting as much as other cars.
when did you get that car?
2 years ago.
Why did you go with that type of car?
Because I had contact with a representative of the Ohio Environmental Group who had one, and it only took me a ride, and seeing the mileage she got, I said, I gotta have one of those.
That'd be a selling point.
Right.
Absolutely. Trella, I want to get in. This is always unbelievable to me, and I think I've had to tell the story every time we've been together in a broadcast format. But you touched the hand of President Warren G. Harding. Tell that story. It's fascinating.
Well, growing up in Marion in 1920 was really exciting. because that's when people came from all over the country to Marion for the front porch campaign of Warren G. Harding. And I was 4 years old, so I didn't realize really what was going on. But after he talked for a long time, this handsome man up there on the porch, my mother picked me up and carried me up to the railing and said, "Now you can shake hands with Mr. Harding." And I was scared, but I looked up at his face, and he was so kind-looking that I just held out my little hand and shook hands. Would you like to shake hands?
I want to shake the hand that shook the hand. Trella, something I just found out recently, I think it was in the last 6 or 8 months, you also attended Harding's funeral.
Yes.
Tell about that.
Yeah. The actual funeral was held at the Marion Cemetery. There were viewing hours at the home of the president's father on East Center Street. And the reason it wasn't at his home on Mount Vernon Avenue is because that house was rented, and Florence Harding would not make it uncomfortable to move out the Hunt family that was living there. So the body was shown at his father's home. And probably none of you realize that, but at that time, viewing for deceased was not held at funeral homes. They were held in the homes. And so this was just pure custom at that particular time.
This is fascinating, Carol. I want to get this on the record. So the viewing was not held at the Harding home. It was held at another home. Do you have the address of that home?
The house has since been torn down. I can't give it to you right now, but it was just east of Greenwood Street. And that was his father's home.
Trella, you were very instrumental. People don't realize this, I guess, when you're born in the 70s, 80s, 90s. The Marion Historical Society came to fruition kind of late.
Definitely.
Well, what year was that, Trella?
It wasn't until 1969 Marion County had a historical society.
Now think about that. We have a city where one of 44 presidents came from, and we didn't get a historical society until 1969. That's amazing. You were a pioneer in getting that done, Trella. Tell a little bit about that.
Well, Judge Charlton Myers was very much interested in history, and he had a radio program that he called the Salt Rock Historical and Marching Society. And Madge Guthrie was instrumental in putting that program on WMRN. And he used the county histories that were long out of print as the basis for his stories. And from that, a group, he was asked to teach local history adult classes. And from those classes, Judge Myers was not interested in forming a historical society. I appreciate this opportunity to let it be known that it was my son who finally was able to get the lists of the members of those classes. And I remember a group of us meeting at Hemmerly's Flowers and creating the invitations for all those people to come to a meeting to form a historical society.
Mary Ann was kind of surprised at that. Mary Ann, it's hard to believe, isn't it? 69.
Yes, it is, because I came to Marion in 1956, and I would have thought that there would have been something there then, but obviously it wasn't. But I have to say, Trella, you are amazing that you remember all of these things so well and can speak about them so well at your age. It's just, I just admire you tremendously for that. That's wonderful.
You know, we have a very interesting timing. The Historical Society started with WMRN, and you are at WMRN with Judge Myers. And guess who worked at WMRN in 1969? That man in the middle there, Charlie Evers.
I was an engineer then, and I engineered all those programs with Dr. Myers.
What are your memories of Charlie Myers?
I thought, first of all, he was a very, very smart man. And I thought he was a very humorous person, too, that liked to laugh. And he could put forth the stories about history that would make you pay attention. It just wasn't something dry. He added flavor to everything. It was really great.
You know, there's the book, Charles Myers' book, which is still available at the Historical Society, The Salt Rock. What's the title of the book, Trella?
Tales from the Sage of Salt.
I picked up that book, and there's a story in there, and I'll never get it right because it's over several pages, but basically it's transcriptions of his radio program. And there's a story about a gentleman. Boy, I'll have to bring the book in and read it because a funny story of humor struck this in my mind. He was to be buried somewhere, but it was cold, and the people got inebriated at his wake, and they were taking him out to it was so cold, they were taking him to the plot where they were going to bury him, and the guys were so drunk because his wake had been going on. Somehow they hit a rock somewhere along the way, and they realized that this man had fallen out of the back. The poor man's body had fallen out. So when they had to go back, by the time they found him in all this cold and being inebriated, they just buried him where they found him. And that's in the book, and I got that story is hilarious.
Ebenezer Roseberry.
There you go, Trella. It's such a funny story. And where is he buried? Do you remember, Trella?
Pardon?
Where is he buried? Do you remember? It's an outlet like on the side of a road.
It's on the County Line Road, right at the corner of the County Line Road and 202.
And you said Ebenezer, what's his last?
Roseberry.
Roseberry.
Yes.
Because I think there's an
And
Ebenezer.
I never drive by that crossroad.
Don't think of it.
Bill Moses'
Wonder
house.
just where he's buried.
Trella, you know, we've talked about this, and you brought up the names there of Charles Myers and Madge Guthrie, that there is a Hall of Fame at the Historical Society, and we certainly hope that those two go into that. You can only go in once you're deceased, and we hope they go in. And if anybody's interested in knowing something about that, or maybe helping make that happen, just contact the Exchange Marion. We'll see what we can get done.
Oh,
We'd love to see that.
good. Follow through on that.
Those two have to go in. It's without any doubt. Trella, you know Marion history. Well, first I want to ask you before I forget. You're working on your autobiography for everybody out there. How close are we to seeing this completed?
Well, I'm sure David's my editor, my son David Halden, and I'm sure he's hoping that I'm about through. But I get diverted doing so many other things. So maybe I should pick a date and say, yes, I'm going to have it ready by then.
did you write it in chronological order, or are you just remembering things now and saying, I have to stick that in?
Well, my files are dated, so that when I am ready to put it all together, it'll be in chronological order from the way the files are dated.
You know something I remember, Trevor, the first few times we got together, and I always found this very admirable, you always carried a notepad around, and you would make notes about just things people said. Where did that come from? How long did you do that?
I guess I've always been a reporter. I was the first girl that was editor of the Harding Herald.
Really?
And so I just never got that out of my system.
Great.
Do you have any old heralds that you wrote?
Oh, yes. My dad had them bound in a soft leather binding, so I have those that whole year of Harding Heralds.
Trevor, did you want to stick around with us for another half hour and talk with Haunted Ohio? You're busy, I know, but would you like to leave, or?
I'd like to leave.
Okay, we understand. Trella's got a busy life here, but I want to ask you this before we get on out of here. Trella, tell us your favorite Marian history story.
Oh,
I know, that's a big beach ball of a question.
well, I think it has to be the career of Warren G. Hart.
I think for most people it would be along those lines. It's been a pleasure to have you. We're going to do our quiz question here and go to the Proust questionnaire one more time before we get out of here. Remember, you can head to the Exchange Marion on Facebook to answer this question. If you're the first one there to do it, you'll get a free fish dinner from O'Michael's Fish and Chips, Mount Vernon Avenue here in Marion, and a half dozen donuts from Andrew's Pastries located at 1282 Delaware Avenue in Marion. Call 740-387-3830. Catch them on the net at andrewspastries.com. Today's Quizzer question, this is interesting. What British millionaire's media empire quickly sank after his body was found floating near his yacht off the coast of, okay, pronounce it Tenerife.
Tenerife.
Whose body was off the coast of Tenerife?
Tenerife.
Any guess on that, Trevor? It's a tough one. Charlie, any guess?
No, I don't think even Popeye the Sailor was along that day.
I think it must not have been, poor man. Marianne?
Well, I'm not familiar with English or British journalists, so I would have no idea. It's probably one that we'll recognize, however.
Martha, any guesses?
Sorry to tell you, I don't know.
We want to get one more question in today before we let Trella run on out of here. In the Proust questionnaire, what is your principal defect? Trella, what's your principal defect? I can't imagine you have any.
I've got so many I wouldn't want to begin.
Charlie?
I think I'm too quick in judging.
Ah, that's a tough one. Marianne?
Well, in this day and age, I hate to say it, but I'm a technophobe. I am not technically astute at all. And I just really hate that.
Martha, what's your biggest defect? What's the biggest thing wrong?
I hate to clean house.
Hey, there you go. That's an interesting. I'm with you, Martha, on that one. Trella, it's been my absolute pleasure to have you here today. Thank you. We'll be back on Wednesday.